Here we go. Stacks the numbers. Welcome back. We're doing a quick earnings update on IONQ Incorporated, ticker symbol IONQ, listed here on the New York. Stock ended up running up into earnings here, 1645, up over a point, 7.17% going into the close. And then we see after hours, we get some numbers. Slight miss on the EPS, beat on the revenue though. Stock pulled back to 1609. Down 36 cents, roughly 2.2% right now after hours. But we looked at this stock, a couple of times, and shout out to your boy because I'm just too damn good, honestly. We were talking about a pullback down to like the sixes. I said here that we should continue down, and I'd wait for a little bit more of an attractive price. And also, we did an update here. This big jump up on September 27th was when we got news of the contract with the Air Force, if you recall. I think the length of the contract was like 4 or 5 years. Don't quote me. It was something like that. But I also mentioned that we may potentially run up to about 10.5, I think was the level I was looking for. However, I said, in my opinion, I do like it at that level. You could potentially get a pullback to the high where we gapped up of about 8.5. And I said, in my opinion, you'd be able to add to the position, and that would bring that would be a market capitalization of sub 2 billion, which I said, in my opinion, would be a decent valuation to position yourself. So again, it was like around here or something when I did an update. I think it was like around this earnings, and that's why I said that we could pull back and you definitely could get a more attractive price. And you saw, obviously, we continued to step down into the sevens and into the very low sixes, and then we have our little W, and boom, we're exploding now. Big volume coming in as of late, going into before these earnings. But again, this is riding off the coattails of the Air Force contract. So right now, of course, in the numbers, we could say overvalued because the stock just exploded in value. We're back up to 3.5 billion. But long term, I do like this company. So, if you're new and you missed this one, obviously that really sucks because you could have bought it at 6, 7, stocks at 16. So I understand if you're a little upset. Again, you can see how we spiked up here to about the 10, and then we stopped. And again, you can see we spiked up to about 1060, 1070, paused before taking the next leg higher. So we may start to come back down to earth a little bit here into the 10s. Obviously, that would be much more advantageous for you if you just came to this stock and weren't aware of it at these lower prices. So you may be able to get a better entry here. Of course, as I mentioned, just with SellH, even though they missed earnings, the markets have been raging. So you might not see too much of a pullback, but if it does drop back down to like 9, 10, in my opinion, it would make sense. But also, I would probably consider taking a position at those levels. Again, this is all hypothetical because I don't have any cash right now. But of course, as I saw it coming down, I would have listened to my own advice. Again, that's why it's good in a way that I don't have capital. I know some people are like, oh, well, you probably have a position in this, or if it's so good, why don't you buy it? Listen, if I could, I would. And as I mentioned with my analysis here at 10, it pulled back to 6, I probably personally would have been all over it. I would have started buying shares of the company. But also, it's good in a way because there isn't that bias. Again, technically, I have a couple of shares of like Fubo, so of course I'm speaking a little bit more optimistically about it. But again, I was pretty bullish on it for like a year or so before I had a couple of bucks to buy shares for myself. But me not having capital in the moment is very good for you because this is an unbiased opinion. And I know there are a lot of other people out there on YouTube and these other platforms who kind of do what we do here. But again, they probably have a little bit more liquidity than I do. So when they talk about something, it could be something that they're planning to buy, something that they just bought a week ago, and now they're doing a video about it. You understand what I'm saying? So, it may not completely alter the analysis, but it definitely adds a little something to it. So the fact that I can't invest into all of these stocks that you guys asked me about is actually a good thing. But anyway, so miss here on the EPS side again by about 10%, losing 24 cents, a little bit of a wider loss. Analysts were expecting 21.7, revenue 12.4, estimates 10.5 million. And also we had Bookings jump on Air Force. Yep. Guidance raised. Let's see. Revenue up, loss down. Total revenue was up 102% year-over-year basis. IONQ said it achieved $63.5 million worth of new bookings in the third quarter. IONQ ended the quarter with $382.8 million in cash. Quote, we had yet another banner quarter at IONQ, booking $63.5 million and exceeding the high end of our revenue range. We won a $54.5 million deal with the U.S. Air Force to develop and deliver hardware that enables the scaling and networking of quantum systems. I also said that in the previous update that now that they got the deal with the Air Force, we're potentially going to see the floodgates open and more deals, more revenue is going to start to come pouring into the company. So that's why, again, something like that, in my opinion, just kind of solidified the company potentially. Over the next couple of years, we can really start to see orders and contracts come in, and we can start to see big growth come into this stock. And that's why even after the news, we said the stock popped to whatever, 970, could have went to 1050. But even at that valuation, it wasn't too overextended. So that's why a lot of people jumped in on that news, and that slight pullback to the low eights, they didn't even mind, or it was an opportunity to add to the position. But again, I'll go on record again and say that this quantum computing probably is going to work out. It's probably going to be profitable. They're probably going to see growth. Again, more orders coming in. So IONQ over the long term, I do like it. But of course, in the numbers, could we drop back down to 10 or 8? Of course. So again, if that happens, it will suck. But again, as long as the numbers keep growing and, more people talk about it, more people start to tap them, that's all good news. So you may have to remain patient. Outlook IONQ, fourth quarter revenue to be in range of $7.1 million to $11.1 million. Company also raised its full year 24 revenue outlook from a range of 38 to 42 million to a new range of 38.5 million to 42.5 million. All right, that's fine. Conference call. Creation of a new quantum application development center in collaboration with AstraZeneca. The companies will work on developing applications for AstraZeneca's innovation bioventure hub in Sweden. Quote, for the first time in IONQ's history, we are announcing a plan to partner on the development of quantum applications for a production use case with AstraZeneca. We believe this monumental collaboration will be the first step to validate the years of pioneering research we have conducted in quantum chemistry. IONQ separately announced entered into a definitive agreement to acquire California-based quantum networking company Qubitekk. The company expects to close the acquisition within the next 6 months. IONQ also announced partnership with ANSYS to integrate quantum computing into the computer-aided engineering industry. So now we're in healthcare. We're in biotech. We're in engineering. The companies aim to produce product development timelines, enabling faster market entry for innovative products. Very nice. Revenue comes in. Cost of revenue. 15.6 up from 4.9, but we are doing more business, so hopefully with the variable business model we do eventually flip from the red to the black. R&D, look at that, up from 60.7 million. Now we're at almost 100 million into R&D, so we upped that R&D expense by about 50%. But as we say, the saying is you have to spend money to make money, right? So this is why, again, when we look at companies like this, in the numbers, they can swing it. So you may have to deal with the short-term volatility to secure that long-term growth. Sales and marketing up, about 70% from 11.3, 19.5. Up. Depreciation up almost 100%. Total cost up big. Loss up about 50%. Net loss up 10-12%. Quantum computing hardware. Okay. Majority of the revenue came from the U.S. International revenue, $500,000. AstraZeneca. That's probably going to be big. However, again, off this recent Trump victory, probably won't mean much for IONQ because they're the ones kind of supplying the technology. So No, because I was just thinking like if RFK goes after these pharma companies, but again, that really wouldn't be IonQ's problem. Creation of a new quantum application development center in collaboration with AstraZeneca. Yep. Partnership with NKT Photonics to develop next generation laser systems. I mean, this all, in layman's terms, this all sounds pretty cool. Signing definitive agreement to acquire, yep, Qubitekk. That's, yeah, I know they, if, you pull up the article, of course, they're speaking very highly about that, and it's going to help, like, accelerate them in the quantum space. So, only time will tell, of course, but it sounds very good right now. Demonstrating remote ion-to-ion entanglement, achieving a critical milestone in developing at-scale photonic interconnects. Partnership with IMEC to develop photonic integrated circuits and chip-scale ion trap technology. Company expects to continue incurring significant losses as it prioritizes reaching technical milestones necessary for achieving higher numbers of stable qubits and higher levels of fidelity. So this is a situation where we have orders coming in and the company is reinvesting into R&D and basically perfecting everything on their end to bring a top quality product to apparently all of these different sectors of industry. So that's why, in theory, it all sounds very good. I understand why you all may have been hyped about it like a year or two ago when you first started mentioning it in the comments, asked me to look at it, completely understand the hype. But you know me, I like to wait for revenue to start coming in. I like to see that, you have to remember too, every single company that IPOs is going to change the world, right? You have to keep that in mind as well. So that's why when people come back, oh, you don't understand, the company is going to be revolutionary. It's like, yeah, listen, they say that about every single company. And you see, some do turn out extremely well, and you wish you would have bought them. Others go out of business. So again, if it really was that awesome and that revolutionary, guess what? People would have bought their shit and they wouldn't have went out of business, right? I mean, that's simple logic and common sense, really. So that's why when we did the update on the 54.5 million contract coming in and the fact that it was from the Air Force, that's why I said, in my opinion, the floodgates may start to open. This may now be the time to start acquiring shares. And that's why you want to say, oh, well, that puts your cost at 9 instead of 6. All right, whatever. But stock's at 16, so there you go, right? We were on the right track. But anyway, $9 million agreement, University of Maryland. There you go, beautiful. Definitive agreement to acquire substantially all assets of Qubitekk for $22 million. I mean, I guess that's not that bad. This is an up-and-coming quantum computing company valued at a couple of billion. So, to scoop up someone else in the space that's going to help you, just streamline production and increase your efficiency and help to perfect the product. 22 million, that's a drop in the bucket, especially since they're losing 150 million or whatever it is. Partnerships with AstraZeneca, yep. Capital management activities. Granted during the 9 months, okay. Future outlook includes recognizing approximately 110 million of revenue. History of operating losses, yes, we know that. Difficulties in scaling the business quickly enough to meet customer demand and market demand. Like I said, that would be a positive hurdle to get over. But we'll see. Significant barriers in producing scalable quantum computing. See, they speak about the scalability, and then that's why we can get to the article of the actual acquisition of the Qubitekk, where they mention that it's probably going to increase and help streamline the scalability. So that's why, I appreciate the fact that all of these concerns are mentioned. Fair enough. But it sounds like they're doing what they have to do in my eyes. Concentration of revenue for customers, international operations, IP risks, need to obtain and maintain patent protection. If it's really revolutionary and groundbreaking, they're gonna get all the paperwork that they need. I'm gonna tell you that much right now. Okay, where is the? Here we go. Nope, that's just the headline. Okay, we're acquiring Qubitekk. technology, products, and patent portfolio to join IONQ. I believe they mentioned about 150 items of IP. Acquisition to continue expansion of IONQ's trajectory into the quantum networking market. IONQ announced reached a definitive agreement to acquire substantially all the operating assets Qubitekk, Vista, California. As part of the transaction, the Qubitekk team will join IONQ to further enhance IONQ's leading position in the quantum networking industry. IONQ anticipates closing the acquisition within the next 6 months, subject to the satisfaction of certain closing conditions. I am flying right now. Quantum networks are expected to become essential infrastructure, enabling critical applications, especially in the defense, finance, and energy sectors, right? So before we mentioned pharmaceutical sectors, and now we're also mentioning defense, we're mentioning finance, energy. That's why something like quantum computing technology can literally be used across all businesses, similar to what we mentioned with SoundHound, right? That's why. So now you may start to see more defense contracts coming in. Random finance companies now tap their quantum computing power, right? Energy sectors, that makes sense. That makes sense. So if we now with Trump may potentially start having more domestic drilling operations, if a few of those companies start to tap into the quantum computing, we could kind of like one hand washes the other kind of thing. The technology enables multiple nodes to communicate via entangling qubits, offering ultra-secure communications, precise timing synchronization, a foundation for distributed quantum computing, and a transport layer for quantum sensing. Having designed and developed the nation's first commercially available quantum network in Chattanooga, Tennessee, the EPB quantum network, Qubitekk has distinctive acumen in the quantum networking category. From the start, IONQ has prioritized quantum networking as a key strategy for scaling its quantum computers. Specifically, IONQ's architecture plans to use photonic interconnects to link multiple quantum computers together, creating a more powerful cluster. The years that IONQ has dedicated to developing this technology for its computing efforts have allowed IONQ to quickly advance its offerings in the quantum networking industry. Once closed, the acquisition will represent a major addition to IONQ's quantum networking capabilities. Customer set believes the transaction will contribute to near-term bookings and revenue opportunities, extending IONQ's commercial leadership in quantum networking. Our acquisition will mark a significant step in IONQ's expansion. Clear leader. Combination will allow us to continue our momentum. Okay. Quantum networking part. Wait, I expect that the quantum networking part of IONQ could be the first division to be cash flow positive. Okay, yes, that would make sense. Qubitek's executive team and employee base, including physicists, engineers, software developers, and others, will join IONQ. Yep, I guess that's a good thing. And joining team. Yep, obviously. Okay, all those people. Deal will significantly expand. Will expand their quantum networking expertise and technology portfolio with 118 U.S. and international patents in the areas of quantum networking hardware and quantum network security and protection. So it's interesting that they cited security and protection, but also 118 now new patents coming in, both U.S. and international. This could be getting spicy. So again, do we have the potential for short-term volatility? We could lose half this value after this pump. Yes, of course, absolutely. In my opinion, I still like it. I do like it. Early advantage. We have admired IONQ. Yep. I would love for one company to come out like after getting acquired. It's like, I don't know where the hell this bid came from. We don't even like these people, but it's a lot of money. I would die laughing when we get a response like that. IONQ's acquisition, Qubitekk. Yep. U.S. Air Force. Selected. Designed first of its kind network for blind quantum computing. Enables quantum computers to operate while remaining, quote, blind to what information is being processed through them. So that's why, it seems like it could be pretty impactful. And again, the contract with the U.S. Air Force, in my opinion, just kind of solidified it. But again, are we, of course, potentially going to run into obstacles? Even if we hang out here and go flat at this level, if we go into next earnings, even if we bring in 11, 12 million, are we going to potentially have, excess bleeding and post a little bit of a wider loss than we expected? So are we going to, come back down either way? So that's why, again, the future value, in my opinion, is there. Market cap right now, 3.5 billion. Again, bringing in, 11, 12, 11 million a quarter. So that's why technically, could we bring this back down to where we first saw it, like over here at around the 2 billion-ish level? Yes, of course, which would be about a 33% haircut, which would be roughly like 5 points and change off of a $16 stock, excuse me, which may bring you back down to the tens. That's why. You always have to keep that in mind. But again, if you're saying, oh, I really like it, I like the long-term story, I'm just going to start buying. And, if you have consistent income, if it sells off again, you're going to add to the position and just keep building. Then, of course, I understand that makes sense. But yeah, if you're just going to initially lock yourself in at a value like this, it may go down before it goes up. There you go. RSI was overextended here, pulled back almost to the mid-Bollinger Band, climbed almost to the 70 benchmark on the earnings, and definitely would have exploded if they didn't post that wider loss. But right now it is what it is. We know that they're just on like the initial stepping stones, and we're going to slowly move along. So now what you might see is after this big run-up, right, we're pulling back. We may do one of these, right? Step down channel, and then boom, we pop out, right? So you may have some time, some consolidation period entering here for IONQ, in my opinion. MACD crossed to the downside, looked like it was about to flatten out and curl up, and now, of course, we're dropping a little bit, so that may start slipping as well, which may add to the step down. Switching over to the weekly, RSI closed up here above 70, so technically now we're down, about 4 1/3% now after hours, 1574, so that's going to slowly start to pull back with the stock, probably back mid-range, at least middle of the road to 50, which would bring us to, maybe like 12-ish, maybe before you get a bounce. The MACD was starting to climb up and fly very nicely. Again, out of September, we broke up out of this wedge that we looked at, got back above the moving averages. We got the news of the Air Force. Boom, we were on the up and up, and now we have just a slight setback, excuse me. Step back, setback, whatever you want. Switching over to the pivot points, I'll let you go. And we can see also, again, we may channel down and come right back down to this support, this pivot point right here, 1247. Definitely possible. A pop up to 21.5. I mean, again, I know people talk about the big spike ups and then we pause and then we jump up again, whether it makes sense or not. I mean, obviously, you would need some sort of catalyst, right? It wouldn't make much sense to me to just randomly pop this stock, 20% here and bring it up to 21 and change. So, almost 30%. But you understand my point. But again, sometimes we see that the chart looks like, it'll climb and then pause. And it looks like in the technicals, people are saying like, no, it's going to pop up again. Like that's what the technicals are showing me, right? It's going to pop up again. And it may not make sense in the moment. And then it pops. And it'll be off some random some random piece of news that comes in. So for all we know, of course, anything can happen. But that's why I understand if you're like, oh, I'd rather be involved even at a high price than kind of just miss the whole, run and miss the whole parade. Like, I understand that mentality. But again, you can see the moving average down here, the 50-day, 988. The 200-day established 996, right? So you have a lot of action here that can take place at 12.5 to about 10. Probably as we start to pull back. So that's why, in my opinion, I think it's going to pull back to around that level. But who knows? I mean, they can get another announcement, another contract. Boom, that's it. Now the stock jumps up to 20. So anything can happen. But as of late, that's kind of how I feel about IONQ. But I will say, again, overall, in my opinion, I do like it. And if you've been following the channel for a while, you would have obviously gotten in at a much more attractive price. But that's neither here nor there. We have to look forward, right? We don't look back and, oh, I missed it. I'm telling you, in my opinion, you will drive yourself crazy. Even when people message me like, oh, did you see this stock today? It's up like 40%. It's like, you will drive yourself crazy. If you look at what happened, what moved, what you almost bought, just stay focused, stay on your path. But that's pretty much it. I'll end it there. Once again, Stocks by the Numbers. I want to thank you for stopping by. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, drop it down in the comments section. I'm usually pretty quick to reply. Thumbs up algorithm, right? Helps me get more eyes on the channel. And of course, subscribe to the channel. That is our handshake agreement. That is how you help me help you. But more importantly, moving forward, like I always say, I understand that markets are rocky, they're volatile, and they are very uncertain. So I want to wish all of you success. I hope everyone makes a couple of dollars. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.